What a year! I could not be more proud of our team, our board, our volunteers, our funders, and of course, the young people in our program. We've had such a high impact year and so much has happened that really the only way to tell this story is chronologically. So we decided to share our story beginning with the summer of 2019. Building consistency and clear learning outcomes across our programs was a priority. We started by putting ourselves in our students' shoes. What would make our learning experiences the most valuable for them? What did we want them to walk away thinking and feeling? How could we create spaces where their unique needs, interests, and values were centered and affirmed? And most importantly, how could we grow their self-esteem, self-confidence, and self-worth while also building essential leadership and life skills? We listened to students, families, and educational partners to inform key learning outcomes framed around I am statements. What I love about this approach is that it reflects our commitment to seeing the whole child. By building up the person first, their self-esteem, self-confidence, and self-worth, they see themselves as capable and they feel valued and safe enough to invest in themselves. With this framework established, we were ready to welcome a new year of students. For over a decade, we've been working with students in the downtown east side of Vancouver. This area is notorious for the challenges it faces. Drug abuse is rampant, poverty rates are high, and community supports are desperately needed, especially for young people. We established a new partnership, the first of its kind, with the Vancouver School Board that will allow us to work with their highest needs students. This was a transformational moment for us and a launch pad to scaling our programming in the region. Back in Ontario, our refreshed First Roots program was ready for launch. Thanks to Novo Nordisk and Noront Resources, we were excited to deliver this innovative and community-grounded program in Attawapiskat and Webequie First Nations. The program seeks to increase the overall health, well-being, and leadership capacity of youth through leveraging the collective power of traditional teachings and arts-based learning. Each community chose a wellness issue to take action on. In Attawapiskat First Nation, that issue is type 2 diabetes, a disease that has dramatically impacted the community's health. In addition to the arts being a powerful vehicle to leadership development, it's also an effective tool in health promotion. So what does this look like in real time? Let's listen to how Glenn describes it.
Hi everyone, my name is Glenn Murray. I'm the remote programs lead for DAREarts, and I'm here to tell you a story about one of the communities that I work with, Attawapiskat. It's an Indigenous community. It's a fly-in community in the James Bay area in Northern Ontario, also known as Mushkegowuk territory, and it is predominantly Cree. So, what we've been doing in this community and in our other community, Webequie, is focusing on wellness education as well as leadership through the arts. So in Attawapiskat, they have a full-size industrial kitchen. So we decided to take advantage of that and incorporate healthy eating and using traditional recipes that the students would bring in from their parents, their grandparents. And then we would teach them how the Canadian Food Guide worked and blend the two and create a new recipe. So we did recipe cards and kids did the layout, design, graphics. So we had that all ready for the end of the week. The kids planned a feast and they cooked and prepared it for the entire school. So one of the students came up to me and said, "Hey, I really want to do this chicken dinner that my mom does. It's a special recipe, and I wrote out the ingredients for you." She got a bunch of a few people together to help her with the recipe and organized them and guided them through the whole process. And from the preparation to cooking, it was just such a fantastic blend of the three things that we really want to do, with the kids, and that teaching them wellness through reinforcing and reintroducing their traditional recipes and culture, and the leadership aspect of them taking that initiative and getting involved and organizing a big busy kitchen for a feast was incredible to see. She did an incredible job with that. And then the art of cooking, of laying out the meal so that it looks presentable, looks good for people to enjoy. So she exceeded in all aspects of that, and that is the wonderful thing to see a student, from the beginning of the week coming in going, I don't know what this is going to be like, and then at the end of the week just completely different. Just growing in all aspects. So very happy to share that with you.
This confidence, dedication, and ownership is exciting for us to see, and a great example of how through building up the person, you can inspire them to share that energy through everyday actions that add up to real impact. In January, we launched our All the Arts program in Scarborough and Vancouver, welcoming 75 students, thanks to the longtime support of Northbridge Financial, Bank of America, Citibank, TD, the Ontario Arts Council, and the Toronto School of the Art. From fashion design to spoken word poetry, students explored new ideas, built connections, and pushed themselves. The beautiful part of this work is watching our students grow and learn through doing. Our commitment to experiential education is a big part of what makes our learning experiences so powerful. Here's what one of our students' learning journey looked like.
Hi, my name is Mackenzie Willis, and I am the Regional Lead GTA, so the Greater Toronto Area. I'm going to be talking about a student and her short but very powerful journey. I like to do this activity where we go around the circle and we kind of just take space and we name something that we would want other people to know about each other. So we're going around the circle and it gets to Vanessa. Her name's Vanessa. And she goes, I have autism. I don't get along with others and others don't get along well with me. That was interesting. Very open, very sharing, but still so guarded. And then the third day came around and it was spoken word. So he's explaining spoken word and she goes, so you mean it's not like a certain amount of syllables and you mean it's not rhyming and there's no like specific rules really? And he goes, no, it's whatever you feel is on the inside. You have to allow that to come out onto the paper on the outside. There's no rules to it, but it has to be true to you. And I think that just floored her because I don't think I heard a peep from her for the rest of that session, but not because she didn't want to talk, but because she was writing. We ended up doing on the very last day an evaluation piece where she had said that one of the things that she took away from DAREarts was that she was able to express herself. And I recall a couple times her wanting to share her poetry. She had gone home and written a book of poetry after the spoken word day. At one point I got an email from her teacher being like, I don't know what you're doing, but Vanessa is just doing so well in school and she's actually making friends. Like, this is all real. I can't believe the success of this student. And at the very end, after the program ended, I actually found out from her principal that this student was always late for school. And apparently she was always the first DAREarts student waiting for the DAREarts school bus every single program day, which was really, really heartening to hear. But I'm really proud of Vanessa. I think she really came into her own and she got to make those important connections that youth need. And I hope I get to see her again someday and she gets to be in our team programs.
Stories like this show us just how much of a difference a creative approach to learning can make. In Vancouver, a teacher partner had this to share. At the end of each program run, we asked students to share their learning through an activity called Head, Heart, and Feet. They're asked to reflect on what they learned, how they felt, and what they'll take with them. These are some of their answers. And then, the world got turned upside down. When COVID-19 hit and schools and workplaces shut down, like all of you, we found ourselves in uncharted territory. With so many unknowns, we quickly assessed the needs of young Canadians with one simple question. How can we be the most useful? We landed on a clear goal, our North Star, to ensure children and families have the tools, support, and space to take care of their mental wellness. This is where we saw the biggest gap that we had the ability to fill. While we applaud the investments made into clinical mental health supports, what was missing was preventative work, supports that addressed young people's need for stability, connection, expression, and fun before they hit a crisis point. In a jaw-droppingly short amount of time, our team brought programs online, connecting with hundreds of students. Here are some of the things that they had to say. We knew online programming alone would leave too many young people behind, and we were determined to make sure that young people and families at the margins knew we hadn't forgotten them. Our solution? DAREarts Creativity Kits. These kits contain all the love, support, and fun we could possibly pack into a 10x5 box. Then we turned to you, our community of funders, volunteers, partners, and asked you to take a leap with us. We turned our annual Youth Leadership Awards Gala into a rallying call to not just celebrate the achievements of our award recipients, but walk the values and spirit that each of them exemplifies. We asked you to help us show kids that they had a community in their corner, and you answered the call. Together, through our newly minted Dare Together campaign, we made sure hundreds of children and families living in shelters and accessing emergency community support like food banks received the kits. There was no better way to honor our 2020 Youth Award winners. Callie, Valerie, and Kobe serve as a constant source of inspiration to everyone lucky enough to hear their stories. I encourage you to check out their spotlight videos found in our annual report. Thank you to our Dare Together sponsors: Northbridge Insurance, RBC, Ernst & Young, Scotiabank, Bank of America, Citibank, BNP Paribas, yes, I'm going to read this whole list, Hub Insurance, Guy Carpenter Navicord, Enterprise Holdings, The Maddie Project, Masters Insurance, Magnus and Zuber & Co., and Salesforce. None of this would have been possible without your incredible support. As COVID-19 spread into the summer, with camps and recreational programs closed, we knew our programs would help close a huge gap. We launched an online summer camp program nationally where hundreds of young campers joined us to create and connect through the arts. For our older students, we launched our Youth Leadership Institute online with the support of BNP Paribas. Our teen learners in Toronto and Vancouver got the chance to reflect and act on anti-Black racism by building arts-based interventions that spoke to young people like them. Listen to Heather discuss what that journey looked like for her students.
Hello, my name is Heather Pross, and I'm the head facilitator and regional lead of Western Canada with DAREarts. We're based in so-called Vancouver, which is the unceded ancestral traditional territories of the Coast Salish peoples, the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations, who have been stewards of this land and water since time immemorial. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about a really cool moment that happened in our Youth Leadership Institute program during our summer cohort, which just so happened to be our first cohort in Vancouver. Earlier on this year, a Black man was killed in America, and his name was George Floyd. This story made worldwide news, and going into YLI, it was something that the youth knew almost immediately that that's what they wanted to focus on. So they met with the Black Lives Matter Vancouver chapter, who suggested that they meet with another local organization, which is called Hogan's Alley Society. When the cohort proposed this project idea to Hogan's Alley Society, they suggested that it wouldn't be appropriate to create a Black Lives Matter art piece. Instead, they began building their project, which was called Our Lives Sent, which is an inclusive, anonymous storytelling community for Black, Indigenous, and people of color to share their lives through art. And this was created on the Instagram platform. And so even though this project is over and YLI is past the 10 weeks, the students are still updating this project, and they're still learning and unlearning. With this YLI cohort, their dedication to the subject matter, their commitment to learning and unlearning really shows how much that they grew. And I think that it's especially important to note that they came up with a project idea and execution so quickly. And when they got feedback from community saying that this was the wrong thing to do, they moved quickly and redid their entire project. And I think that's such an incredible learning opportunity. And at no point did they say that their research was wasted. In fact, one student acknowledged that the amount of research and learning and unlearning that happened during the initial planning stages of the project, this is just the tip of the iceberg of lifelong learning and committing to unlearning. Students were able to access parts of themselves and their work ethic, and the amount of team building and conflict resolution that happened was pretty spectacular. One student shared that they wish that these bumps happened close to the beginning of the weeks because it would have made things easier. But they still said that they were happy in how it happened because they learned a lot about flexibility. And I think that flexibility is an incredibly important skill to have, especially right now as we work through the pandemic. These students were able to learn about how to adapt a program quickly, to work as a team, to come up with something new that would be just to the cause. And I think that they absolutely did that.
Much like our students, we as an organization spent time learning this summer and making important changes towards more equitable and inclusive ways of operating and serving our students. From using more affirming language in all of our communications to forming new partnerships with Black and Indigenous artists and partner organizations, we know this work is constant and never done. As the pandemic continues to unfold, we remain committed to our North Star. This school year poses new challenges, but we are already hard at work, offering more DAREarts creativity kits through school and community partners, offering free online programming for classrooms and families, and continuing to offer YLI online. Because of a transformational partnership with the RBC Foundation's Future Launch Initiative, we're growing YLI to 8 communities this year, connecting hundreds of teens with the skills they need to build bright futures. Also new this year, First Roots is expanding from a 1-week in-person program to a 7-month-long initiative that uses video and mail-based resources, along with in-person facilitation by program alumni to increase continuity and support economic development in the community. We're especially excited to introduce a community gardening component, thanks to Novo Nordisk and our new supporter, Recipe Unlimited, for making this possible. Finally, thanks to Scotiabank's generous support, we're launching our new evaluation and impact measurement matrix. Crafted by youth program evaluation specialists, we're confident that these new tools will ensure we're constantly improving our programs and able to share the evidence of our impact. What a year. I hope following along with me has shown you just how much of a difference you have made this year. We cannot thank you enough for being with us on this journey.